From the dawn of the 20th century, few events have captured the imagination and interest of mankind as the introduction of a new automobile. Many enthusiasts have waited with bated breath for what was to come. Only a handful of mortals have driven the progress and development of this most mystical of mankind's creations. And from the earliest days, Ford and his heirs would prove most influential in the transition of mobility from beast to machine. The ethereal connection between the automobile and us all was evident from the earliest days of its existence. Sure, it may have required regular maintenance and care, but for the first time in the history of mankind, there was a genuine bond between human and machine. And it wasn't just a form of transport. The automobile provided a way for mothers and fathers to earn a living to support the ones they loved. Indeed, the birth of the automobile truly was one of those rare transformative times in history that gave so much to so many of those who we owe our very existence to. And as time moved on, the automobile would evolve from little more than horseless carriage to a vast array of styles and shapes that represented every moment of our history. And as the middle of the 20th century approached, the question was asked, where does this most impressive of mechanical creations evolve next? Surely there would be a joyous union of that other 20th century marvel, the aeroplane. Surely cars would fly. Or if cars failed to actually gain the ability of flight, no doubt they'd at least appear as though they could effortlessly take to the skies. And then there was Fairmont. Long before Fairmont's sharply angular and folded lines would appear, there was Falcon. Falcon's rocket age styling distilled down into a compact form would prove to be one of Ford's early examples of the right car at the right time. Maverick would arrive for 1970, and though its appearance was pure 70s, it was little changed underneath from the Falcon on which it was based. As with the Falcon before it, Maverick would evolve to appeal to a larger audience with the addition of four-door body configurations and a growing list of available luxury options. This offering of luxury features that were previously only available in full-size offerings was driven by the realities of the ongoing energy concerns of the 1970s. Road-hugging weight was no longer seen as a desirable feature, and American car companies realized drastic changes were necessary. Ford's first effort at offering both luxury and economy would arrive for 1975 in the form of Granada. Granada was based on the ancient Falcon underpinnings, and no amount of marketing would obscure the fact it was too heavy to truly compete in a vastly changing marketplace. Ford's product planners looked into the future, and thus was born one of the true and largely forgotten heroes of automotive history. Though Fairmont would officially arrive for 1978, many of us children of the 80s likely remember its prominent appearance in the 1982 movie E.T. The crisply folded lines may have been quite familiar by '82, but they were somewhat of a revelation when Fairmont debuted. The first of many models that would share the all-new Ford Fox-body platform, Fairmont would prove to be a surprise hit. Fairmont would initially offer 2- and 4-door sedans and a wagon. From the start, styling details would exhibit touches from the past as well as the future, an example being the availability of both wire spoke and turbine-style wheel covers. The available padded vinyl roof and luxury of a stand-up hood ornament helped distract the fact that Fairmont bared little resemblance to similar previous Ford offerings. The straight-edge styling, however, did serve a genuine purpose in that it offered a maximum amount of space and a significantly downsized footprint. With multiple recent fuel shortages, job one for Fairmont was efficiency, so in addition to a smaller, lighter structure, an inline 2.3-liter 4-cylinder was standard. Ford's tried-and-true inline 6 was also available and offered a bit more torque. Drivetrain layout was as expected, front engine with power sent to a rear solid axle. The 2-door sedan, or box top as it would be labeled by fans, shared the same wheelbase and overall aesthetic of the 4-door model. Regardless of body style, there was no doubt celebrations and relief at Ford, as Fairmont was a surprise hit, selling nearly 500,000 copies in its debut year. Its success was in large part due to the efficiency and vast array of available appearance and convenience features. During a time of severe energy uncertainty, Fairmont was the right car at the right time. In fact, from a space versus weight perspective, Fairmont was Ford's most efficient sedan to date. The press was just as impressed as the public, with many journalists remarking on the genuine European feel the chassis exhibited, and this makes sense, as the first Fairmont prototype was based on the European Ford Cortina. The Fairmont Squire wagon, however, was all-American in appearance, with acres of wood grain trim and available spoke-style wheel covers. All Fairmonts provided good-for-the-time MPG numbers, particularly when equipped with the standard 2.3-liter 4. As 1978 drew to a close, Fairmont's wide appeal was clear. From the golf course to the tennis course, and everywhere in between. This was the hit Ford needed during a very difficult financial time. Much to the surprise of everyone, Ford wasn't done yet. There was another member of the Fairmont family on the way, Futura. Though indistinguishable from other Fairmonts head-on, the side profile was surprisingly unique, featuring a sharply raked backlight and unique rear-end styling. The fact that Ford went through the expense to offer a body style that was unique from the A-pillar backwards was both highly unusual and received well by the public, selling far better than the box-top 2-door in its first year. Futura's B-pillar was its signature feature, and the reason Futura would become christened Basket Handle by the public. Futura's interior was little changed from the rest of the Fairmont family, but this was seen as a good thing with ergonomics that were considered good for the time. Extensive use of sound insulation and acres of wood tone applique, provided a reasonable sense of luxury, which made it easier for prospective buyers to make the switch from larger Ford offerings. The first of many models that would share Fairmont's Fox body platform was the Mercury Zephyr. As expected of the slightly more upscale brand, Zephyr featured a more stately vertical grille and quad rectangular headlamps, a style fans of the early box body would dub Four Eyes. The Zephyr C7 Coupe shared the unique basket handle styling of the Futuro. Unique tail lamp styling and fender vent ornamentation further distinguished Zephyr from Fairmont, and interiors offered slightly more upscale fabrics and door cards, but there was no mistaking this Ford-derived product for a Mercedes. The available European sports option was mostly blacked-out appearance features, though that was okay, as the basic suspension and steering configuration was quite advanced compared to contemporary American offerings. The modified McPherson strut front suspension, standard anti-roll bar, and rack and pinion steering provided Fairmont with a level of sophistication that would go on to serve the upcoming Fox body Mustang quite well. And those familiar with any Mustang of the 80s will no doubt recognize the dashboard that first appeared with Fairmont and Zephyr. It was simple, but highly functional. Extensive use of cutting-edge computer modeling focused on reducing weight for economy, while adding structure reinforcement where necessary to minimize flexing of the unibody structure. Ford did imply that aerodynamics played a role in styling Fairmont, though it was abundantly obvious the shape was primarily made to be as space-efficient as possible. Fairmont was intended from the start to serve in the police and taxi industries. Traditional police cars of the era were much the same as any other car, generally very large and very averse to high-speed maneuvering. Ford marketed Fairmont as a right-size alternative with an extensive number of available heavy-duty options and packages. A heavy-duty suspension package increased spring and roll bar rates. The 3.3-liter Thrift Power Inline 6 was standard, while the 5.0 Windsor V8 was also on offer. Brakes were front disc, rear drum. Fairmont's taxi package was similar in content to the police configuration, and would prove somewhat popular due to its downsized proportions. Reasonable interior space and trim exterior dimensions, as well as a trunk that measured 16.8 cubic feet, made Fairmont a genuine alternative to larger offerings. As with the police package, special wiring was installed by the factory to power roof-mounted accessories. Alternators and batteries were also upgraded to handle the extra electrical loads. Seating was 100% vinyl and featured heavy-duty foam and mounting hardware to handle the extra workload of taxi life. A special order department was also available to provide custom equipment configurations to larger fleets. By its second year, it was clear Fairmont was a hit. Futuro was particularly successful, accounting for nearly a quarter of all Fairmont sales. A new Ghia trim level provided color-keyed turbine-style wheel trim, and a half-tone vinyl roof and unique flight bench seat. Futuro also offered a sport group, which featured roof pillar tape stripes and silver wheel covers. A floor-mounted select-shift automatic could also be specified. Ford marketing was quick to point out Fairmont's success, declaring it the best-selling new car ever introduced. Though some would debate that claim, it is easy to see why Fairmont appealed to so many. The truly vast array of body configurations, options, and color combinations is unlike anything seen in modern times. The Fairmont decor package featured a monogrammed hood ornament, vinyl insert door protection, and bright belt moldings and window frames. Even the two-door sedan could be dressed for luxury with the available decor package and two-tone paint treatment. The Accent Group provided subtle luxury touches to the base model, featuring bright wheel lip and rocker panel moldings and unique hood ornament. All Fairmonts featured the dual stock column controls, which were just becoming popular in the US. They worked well, with the exception of the horn, which was also controlled by a stalk, and difficult to find in an emergency. The Fairmont wagon was another surprise hit, selling nearly as well in its first year as the sedan. Ford's status as the wagon master remained secure. Interiors were little changed for Fairmont's second year, primarily consisting of some color and trim shuffling. That said, the rainbow of vinyl and fabrics that were on offer is a reminder of something that truly no longer exists, which is very sad indeed. As 1979 was nearing the end, the most unusual Fairmont variation of all would arrive, the Durango. Developed as a joint venture between Ford and National Coach Corporation, Durango was a pickup based on the basket handle body style. Though not exactly successful, a payload capacity of 1,500 pounds and dual-wall bed construction did make this a legitimate mini hauler. Fairmont would enter the decade of the 80s a proven winner, already selling nearly 1 million examples. Futura ads often referred to driving the car of tomorrow today, but had Fairmont failed, it likely would have brought down Ford with it. These were the dire circumstances for a brand that had held on too long to the past. Truly innovative technology, such as the newly available 4-cylinder turbo power plant, were desperately needed to both compete with ever-increasing foreign competition, as well as a highly unstable energy market. Talented new leadership direct from Europe would guide Ford to the success it enjoyed throughout the 80s. This success can be attributed primarily to two men: Ford's new Vice President William O'Bork, who previously served as chairman of Ford of Europe, and Vice President Hal Sperlach, who spearheaded Ford's ambitious move to finally downsize its entire fleet. Fairmont's huge success was another wake-up call for the automotive industry. Telling people what they want to buy is definitely a path to ruin. Building a car they want to buy should always be job one. For Fairmont's third year, body styles and overall appearance was little changed. The brochure said it best: Fairmont was stylish simplicity. It was a look that Ford was probably hesitant to mess with given the huge success Fairmont had enjoyed. The ever-increasing options list continued to offer something for everyone. A standout available feature is the ES option package with its metal spoke sports steering wheel. But underneath it all, Fairmont's Fox body chassis must be given generous credit. I owned a Fox body example myself, and I was genuinely impressed with how modern the steering and handling felt. Fairmont truly was, and is, a remarkable automobile. The Futura variant would prove so popular that use of the title was expanded to the sedan as a designation for the highest trim level for 81, and was easily spotted by the quad headlamps. The basket handle coupe would also continue on, for now. The 4i look somehow provided the essentially unchanged exterior with a classier appearance, which was preferred by many over the larger dual headlamp configuration of lesser trim levels. Vinyl roofs and generous amounts of bright trim continued to be available for all trim levels. Revised steering wheel ornamentation and more comfortable seating did help keep the now 4-year-old Fairmont reasonably competitive. As Fairmont's time neared an end, it was gifted with few changes, mostly consisting of the usual color and trim revisions. The car that was a savior and superstar only a few short years ago was clearly entering twilight. with sales falling 73% from its debut year. It was clear this most impressive of performers of the late 70s would soon dance its last number. Fairmont is actually the reason I started making these car tales. It is an unsung hero that paved the way to another childhood favorite, the Ford Taurus. And for that, I think we should all take a moment to celebrate this most unassuming of automotive heroes. For its final year, Fairmont would continue on virtually indistinguishable from when it landed all the way back in 1978. The wagon would graduate from Fairmont to Granada status, and later moved again to the LTD nameplate, both of which were also Fox body based. The Futura Coupe was still available, though trim levels and available options were somewhat reduced. Interior color options, however, would put modern cars to shame, with Hooker Lipstick Red as my personal favorite. And brochures would continue the efforts to convey Fairmont really was aerodynamic, even though it appeared it may actually perform better when driving backwards. While the Taurus is truly my favorite car of the 80s, even as a child, I found the Fairmont fascinating. It is one of the first cars I have memory of. Being born deaf, I eventually gained the ability to hear, and it was a faded blue Fairmont wagon that shuttled me to and from speech and hearing tutors. So for me, E.T. wasn't about the misunderstood alien. It was about the underappreciated Fairmonts that appeared in great numbers throughout this most special of movies. My friends did not understand the obsession with what was by now a homely little car of the past. But to me, it was about all of the other childhood favorites that would arrive, thanks to this one very special, unsung hero. May we all find time to take a moment to reflect upon the memories of those most special of childhood companions, many of which left this earth long ago. Here's hoping we meet again. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.